yesterday I was given this cup, Magical Kenya, and from Kenya Tourism Board. And I used it to drink tea this morning, and I became magical. So if my performance or my communication changes, hold Kenya Tourism Board responsible. But if it goes very well, please clap for them. Thank you very much. We want to look at a dimension to what we have been discussing about responsible digital communication. We believe that so much has been said about digital communication, but how does this happen on governance? In Africa, it's very important for us. So we are going to look at this, and our scope, because of time, I'm going to rush this, and I'm not going to take all the slides. It's available. You can lay hands on them later. We're looking at good governance. We're looking at Africa's governance survey, some samples of good governance, and so on and so forth. We have some critical concerns, and I would like us to join hands to look at these critical concerns. Africa Union, in their 2063 agenda, recognizes good governance as one, being fundamental to the continent's transformation. They emphasize the need for capable institutions, but more importantly and very critically, they talked about democratic governance and citizen-centered development. And I want to talk briefly about democratic governance. That means Africa Union has taken a position that the only structure that can give good governance is democratic governance. True or false? So if there is any other governance that is not democratic, it is expected not to deliver good governance. Is that correct? You answer. I have no comment. So we then have to look at a few things. We have been told by some surveys that core principles of good governance include transparency, consensus-oriented. That means there must be consensus on issues because it must do with citizen engagement, responsiveness, equity and inclusiveness, participation, rule of law, accountability, effectiveness and efficiency. You know that the bottom line in all of this is your profession. The bottom line in transparency, consensus, orientedness, responsiveness, equity and inclusiveness, participation, rule of law, is the practice of public relations and communication. Because if you don't communicate, you cannot build consensus. If you don't have consensus, you can't even participate. If there is no rule of law, and you know rule of law is not measured by the nature of law that you know, it is measured by your strength of articulation of the law. Otherwise, there is no rule of law. So you see how important your profession is in governance. So assuming we decide to establish a public relations bank, what should be the currency of this bank? Because I believe that's where governance should be going to. What should be the currency? I want to ask us, what should be, I'm looking for only two currencies that we are going to use to trade. You want to answer because the way you're laughing, you seem to know it. Okay, can somebody help us? Two currencies. Yes, sir. Integrity. Okay, next. Reputation. Beautiful. You are from Nigeria, I'm sure. Okay, yes. Trust. That's it. That's the integrity of public relations bank. That's the currency, rather. First is trust. And you know, public relations is the steward of the trust currency. Second one, okay, before we go to the second one, you see what is going on here. The only reason why these two guys could cross this ravine is because they trust the guys who are carrying it. If there was no trust, they will not attempt it because they will just die. So trust is a key element of governance. and we are the stewards of trust. So those who want to give good governance should talk to us because we're in a position to tell them what to do. Next is the currency of reputation. Look at these guys. These are sheep. And the story we must know about them is that they are so committed to what they believe in. If you want to try this, have a line of sheep crossing the road. Take a stick and put it in front of them. The first one will skip it, and then you pull it back. Every other one following will continue to skip, assuming that the stick is still there. What is that? Reputation. It's been established. So they keep following it. So the currency that we need to bring into leadership and governance in Africa is that currency of reputation. Those are the two critical currencies. My moderator is looking at me. Well, a number of things have happened in the area of governance survey, which took place some years back by Afrobarometer. I hope you'll be able to see it. But this started in 2011, and then the last one was in 2023. And between this period, they looked at three critical elements to know the ones that rank in the area of trust. First is the number of people that used to trust their presidents in 2011, 60%. Those that trusted the court of law, 52%. And, 59%. And those that trusted their parliament, 52%. But about 12 years down the line in 2023, 49% of Africans now trust their presidents. What happened? 48% of Africans now trust their courts of law, and 33% trust their parliament. That means something fundamental has happened in the area of trust. And then you look at the other structures, religious leaders, army, traditional rulers, courts of law, police. You know, interestingly, the three most trusted leaders that produce or provide governance in Africa today, according to this survey. First, religious leaders with 52%. And then it runs across. In East Africa, that means they pray so much in East Africa. That's why they have 77% trust for their religious leaders. In West Africa, running behind them, we pray a lot in Nigeria, 72%. Southern Africa, 61%. North Africa, 57%. Central Africa, 52%. We need to convert some of the faithfuls from East Africa to Central Africa to go and help them to shore up their trust. And then I'll go to the last one, which will be a kind of regional average of everything, looking at religious leaders, army, traditional rulers, courts of law, police, president, and so on and so forth. Interestingly, the opposition parties are the least trusted. Can you imagine that? Opposition parties are the least trusted, followed by the ruling party. There is a challenge. Okay, so let's quickly go on so that we can conclude. Now, at the root of challenge of governance in Africa are three critical things. And we are all Africans. So can we help? What are these three critical things? One of them is showing face here. Yes, sir. War. But something leads to war. Before we get to war, something happens. Corruption is the totality of all the troubles in Africa. Sorry? Bad governance is something leads to bad governance. Sorry? Culture is close to it, but it's not exactly it. Let me go to this side. Please, can you help us? The critical problem, when you look at this, what do you see? But something, poverty is a product of something. So what is that thing? Ethnicism. We are so divided by who we are, what we are, and some of these things happen because we allow them to happen. There is no time, so I won't be able to emphasize so much. So you have people of different ethnic background. In fact, this issue is very critical because young people are now fighting old people that they should clear for them to take over. And then no time. This is the second one. What is it? Religion. These are the two critical issues. He is of my faith. He's not of my faith. It has to be somebody of my faith. And the interesting thing is that even when they fight the battle and it now comes to their faith, they now begin to do denomination. This one is not Catholic. This one is Anglican. This one is Shiite. This one is Sunni. And so on and so forth. Meanwhile, when you go to the places where these things were imported into Africa, they've gone beyond it. It's no longer an issue. So, what then happens to our leaders? What do we see here? We see confusion. We see confusion on two legs. This man is on a journey. He's having different dimensions. This one, you just see confusion taking place. So, but it's not always a bad story. Some have been able to rise above some of these things. And that's why we are now talking of good governance. And the bottom line of good governance is development. If there is no development, then there is no good governance. So, what are the things that we should look out for in promoting good governance? We talk about sustainability principles, talk about poverty reduction, talk about economic growth, talk about access to health, talk about human rights and social equity, talk about infrastructure and technology. That's the bottom line. But you know what? After you have done all these things, and you are not developing the human being that will run the systems, it will collapse. Roads don't bring development, unfortunately. Yes. Electricity does not bring development. You know what brings development? Human capacity to deploy roads, electricity, water, and use it the way it is supposed to be used. So when you don't develop your human capacity, that's why people will do roads and others will go and dig across the roads. Just create gutter there. Why? Because they want to bury cables without asking questions. So we must emphasize human capacity development. Because of time, I will just go to the concluding part. There are some countries that are doing well. In Africa, Mauritius is doing well. In some areas, Botswana, Namibia, and these are based on statistics, but I won't be able to go into them. And then you have Rwanda, South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria. They are doing well in different areas, but I will have to move on. I won't be able to dwell so much. Some other things about information. But I now come to the concluding part. Responsible digital communication in governance and development. What do we need to do? We must create access. And this access must be accountable. If there is no accountability, the access becomes a problem. Secondly, we must be truthful, we must be accurate, and we must share information so that those who do not know will help those that know. Then, so many of them, and I won't be able to go into all of them, but suffice it to say that Africa is moving on. The mere fact that we are all here today, listening and engaging, shows clearly that we are ready to take Africa to the next level. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. I'll come see you later for my jollof. Huh? Remember, those who have need to share. That's what you said, yeah? Okay. So, to all our panelists, and I think I'll start off with Ryan, we're at the moment where digital technologies are transforming every aspect of our lives, from governance and finance to education, health, and communication. Based on your unique experience and vantage point,